Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is my 9th or 10th time trying to record this message because I'm trying to make it brief. You've seen the title, and I realize that I'm not going to be able to make it brief and do it justice, but I'm going to go ahead and make it brief at the expense of having to do the topic justice, which means some of you may misunderstand what I'm trying to say because of things I don't have time to explain. But to make a long story short, other races have this problem. I live in a very conservative Middle Eastern country, and the genders here are having this problem. The local men are beginning to lose interest in marrying. Well, they've long since had little interest in marrying the local women. The government had to force them, actually. And the local women are beginning to lose interest in marrying the local men. And they're beginning to say, well, you know, other men respect us more. They give us more freedom, stuff like that. And, you know, you local men, you're stupid, you're academically lazy, you don't actually have any work ethic, you suck, and then you want to control us. F you. And objectively speaking, I can observe where both of them have legitimate and illegitimate complaints. Usually, though, their complaints about each other are legitimate. The women are right about the men being academically lazy, anti-intellectual, quite stupid and hard to teach, stubborn, especially when they're wrong, terrible at practicing their religion, which the women are too, and then wanting to be controlling. Where are you going? What time you coming back? That kind of thing. But let's also be honest. The women want to be able to go where they want to go without saying anything because they want to go to places they shouldn't go to meet men they shouldn't be meeting. That's one of the truths of the matter here. Yeah, people didn't know this, but in this conservative country, there are women who cheat, married women who cheat. The other thing, too, is that you see, I have to tell the men when I teach them, but they're between 17 and 20 years old. They're old enough to know better. They are more immature than any college student any male college student in the United States that I ever met, honestly. They're not as violent as some of the high school students in the United States are, but they are more immature than any college and university student I've ever met in the U.S. Freshmen, we're talking. They don't they refuse to accept accountability for anything. They will lie to get a teacher in trouble for doing his job when it's not convenient for them. They don't want to think. They don't want to study. They cheat. I've told you about all these things before. I mean, some of them are really some subhuman shitbags that Hitler should have gone after. Some of them will make you say Hitler did the right thing to the wrong people. I kid you not, some of them are that bad, and they're a minority. But years ago, it was worse. And I'm saying this to say that the men and women have lost a lot of interest in each other, to the point that families and the government have to play a large part in any marriage between any man and any woman if both of them are citizens of this nation. The government had to play its part. Men below 30 can't marry foreign women and then bring the women into the country, unless they've got a health problem. Families have to look to match them up. Anyway, I'm not going to go into why and how and the dowries and all that stuff. Point I'm making is that the men realize that marrying a local woman is a bad deal for them. And the women realize that marrying a local man is a bad deal for them. So you got two bad deals. For Black Americans, what does this have to do with us? Well, it's simple. I had to tell my students, you need to improve yourselves because you suck as human beings. And I got good students, but I've had to tell students in other classes, you are pieces of shit and you are subhuman. You are not equal to any other nationality on the face of this planet, except maybe the Israelis, who themselves are a nation of terrorists, because you got to serve military, you got to do military service and oppress the Palestinians. I had to tell them this. was like, you are people who deserve to go through what the Palestinians are going through. That's not a nice thing to say, but I've had to say nasty things like this to some of them because they're that bad. Some of them threaten teachers. Most of the time they argue with teachers. They do everything but study. And I've had to tell them for good reasons, you need to improve yourselves. But I cannot sit here with a clear conscience and tell them you need to improve yourselves for your women. I can't say that. Therefore, I want to say to you, Black Americans, men and women alike, stop telling non-select men that women didn't chase after, that they need to improve themselves so that women can now pursue them. It's not a fair deal. It's not a fair thing to say. When you say this, what you're saying to these men is that at the end of the day, it was okay for women to lie about what they wanted back, in the teenage years, 12 and 13, and then keep on lying about what they wanted. The whole time lying to guys who respected women more. They were pursuing guys who respected women not at all, actually. The same few guys. And then after these years of lying, and the men find out that they were lied to after decades, or at least a decade, and it really being that as bad of a problem as men say it is, you then turn around and tell these men who are victims of this deception, you need to improve yourself so that attractive women can find you attractive as well. Are you effing kidding me? You can tell any man to improve himself for the right reason, for his own benefit. But you can no longer sit up here and tell men that women did not want, or that women wanted and wouldn't admit that they wanted. That they need to improve themselves to get the same treatment as other guys got from the same women. It's too late. You see, when a woman is at her best and has the most to offer, and has the most options, that's the time that she needs to make the wisest choices. It is the same for men. When men are at their best for whatever reason and we got the most options, that's when they need to make the wisest choices in women. When men don't do this, nobody feels sympathy for them when they wind up with a bad deal later. When women don't do this, you come along and you tell men who simply were lied to and deceived about what women wanted, and which is why they couldn't be that. Because they were lied to and deceived about it. That they just need to improve themselves, and you mostly mean financially, to be honest with you. Improve themselves financially, which may not even be possible. So that a woman who's now given her first and second best to men who didn't have to go through all this self-improvement can come along and give him the third or fourth best, and she can feel that she did the right thing. She can feel okay with her decision. Go ahead and tell the truth. Morally speaking, men and women are equal until they make unequally moral choices. But in the eyes of women, men are not equal. Some are inferior. And if you are one of those inferiorly viewed or ranked men, you might as well just go ahead and give it up, because you're going to have to pay twice the price for half the results. They should improve themselves for their own benefit, not for these women. That's the truth of the matter. I don't say this with a hatred for women, but that is the truth of the matter. And to prove this, there have been women who could not find a man because they've had problems, attitude problems, and they were getting older and losing their looks or whatever the case was. And I'm saying this as a man who prefers women my age and older, but other men don't. And so when they began to lose options in men, no one said to them, well, you effed up when you were younger. You made bad decisions. You didn't find a good man. And now you simply can't find the same type of man because your looks are fading, or you have too high of a body count, or whatever the case is. You can't even be attached to a man now because of how many guys you've been through. Nobody's saying to these women, you need to do some self-improvement. No, it's only the men that are being told this. Well, at the end of the day, you can't sit up and tell men to do this and not tell women. We're not the only ones who have these problems. We're just the only ones I care enough about to give this advice to, in the hopes that we can use it and help ourselves, both men and women. Stop telling men who were lied to and deceived about what women wanted in the first place that they need to self-improve in order for women that were only equally as attractive as them in the first place to feel justified in treating them like they're equal. I hope this has been a benefit. Assalamu alaikum.